Just a quick video. I always say that. I don't really mean it. This is a Design Acoustic and what is it? Audio Tecnica company from, was that Stowe, Iowa, or Ohio. It's model DA10. And it's got a room adjustment. This is with no filter, no resistance. And then it's got, or no, I'm sorry, that's with resistance, and then plus 3 dB is no resistance. And then that's on the mid. And then you got a, I don't think this is the original crossover though. No, maybe it might be. So they just hot glued it. This is a hand wound inductor, meaning they just grabbed some sort of former and then just wound it. And all you have to do is count the windings. And if you know the core diameter, etc. Again, all stuff you can figure out inside the loudspeaker cookbook. And then it looks like just a regular 12 dB filter with an inductor and a cap for the tweeter. And then it looked like it had like a Zobel filter for the optional Zobel filter. I pulled it apart when taking it apart. So, but I got the pair, these bookshelf speakers for $40 for the pair. I think the crossovers are worth that alone to somebody, some collector. And so I'll post those on the face space. And then, oops, yeah, see that these cabinets are just really old. They've been dropped. Somebody tried to re-glue them. I'll salvage these gaskets because that is a die cut, a very specific cut. That one's for the tweeter. The tweeter is what I really got them for. So the tweeters look like the Braun. I don't know if you remember that company, Braun, from Germany. They used to supply the drivers to ADS, and these look like the same Braun/ADS drivers that they used with a part number. And that happened a lot, especially in the 90s and the 80s, is that there was a company like Audax, Polydax out of France. I think they have everything made in India now. And all of that stuff has been consolidated, especially under Timpani, the Timpani brand, which was Peerless, Vifa, ScanSpeak, Seos. All those brands are now under Timpani. So, but this is very reminiscent of that. I think somebody has actually refinished it and spray painted it black, but they did a pretty good job. There's the part number. So I'll sell these alone for like $80 on the pair for the tweeters, which is a really good deal because normally they're $100 each. And then the mids I'll probably just get like $50 for the pair. And then the cabinets I'll post, but I won't get them. And then see, they're filled with this shit, which again is completely unnecessary. It doesn't work the way that you think it does. And even if it does, you don't need that much. It kind of defeats the purpose if it's completely filled. But again, the idea is to break up the waves from the back of the driver, so that you don't get any standing waves that cause either a peak in response or a dip in response. And really, the easiest way to know is if you're in the factory, which this company should have, you know, they're called Design Acoustics, right? And they're out of Ohio. They should have at least some sort of machine. And this is solid wood. That's very nice. That you should be able to put the mid and the tweeter in, and then with no stuffing, and then sweep it, and then you see if the response is flat. And then you can also sweep the driver on its own, and then you layer the two responses over one another to see if there's any sort of what's called coloration, where the enclosure is causing either a peak or a dip in response. And you can see it, you know, all the way across the frequency response. And then you can also know what the crossover frequencies are, so you can see if there's a dip or a peak in the overlap or underlap of the crossovers. and what frequencies you chose for those. But somebody tried to clean these up with a marker, and then they had one big old, I took it off, but it was some other thing, but they were just using them for surround speakers, which is just fine, but they're not really meant for that. This is more of a bookshelf speaker that is meant to be used with like a 10-inch subwoofer. So I'll probably sell these for, I'll just sell this part, the cabinets, for like $10 for the pair, local. And then there's sometimes there's some hippie marijuana guy that will, I could refinish them. I'm like, help yourself. So, but that's a quick review on the, what is this again? The Design Acoustics by Audio Tecnica company out of Stowe, Ohio. Sorry, that's a lot of vowels. And then this is Culver Electronic out of Gardenia, California, but they outsourced it to Taiwan, Republic of China. So maybe that's just the plastic part. Maybe this is the injection mold part. And I've been watching a guy on TikTok. I think it's TikTok. Yeah, I've been watching a guy on TikTok that's like, you can buy your own injection mold machine now for like $700. And that's like better than 3D print, if you ask me. A lot less moving parts, a lot more reliable. And once you pay for the tool, which you can get the tool made yourself, because again, you can get it made from like a sign shop anywhere you have, or if you have your own CNC router, and then you just use aluminum plates for the mold. But I'll see if I can find a link to him. I gotta scroll. I don't think I subscribed to him, but I've been watching him, and the algorithm goes, "Oh, you like that, huh?" I'm like, "Yep." And then it comes back to it later. But that's it. I love you guys. Talk to you later.